Imagine the warm, misty hills of southern India, where ancient forests once sprawled untouched. It's the 1600s. Coffee, a plant native to Ethiopia, has just begun its slow journey eastward. But little did anyone know, this humble bean would eventually intertwine with India's destiny under British rule, and with the dreams of its freedom fighters. By the late 17th century, the British East India Company wasn't just trading spices and silk, it was building an empire. Coffee was booming in Europe, and the British saw India's fertile southern hills, Coorg, Chikmagalur, Wayanad, as perfect grounds. Plantations were forcibly created. Forests were cleared. Indigenous communities, who once lived freely, were turned into laborers. Coffee wasn't just a crop. It became a symbol of wealth for the colonizers and oppression for the colonized. Life on the plantations was brutal. Workers, often tribals or poor farmers, faced backbreaking hours, punishing taxes, and little pay. Entire generations were trapped in debt and poverty. Yet amidst the growing darkness, something was brewing, not just coffee, but resentment. A silent rage against injustice started simmering across the hills. Plantation workers began whispering to each other. Stories of rebellion passed from village to village. In the 1830s and 40s, small uprisings flared across coffee regions. In Coorg, fierce warriors like the Kodavas resisted British control fiercely. They were among the first to organize, defend their lands, and fight back. Elsewhere, freedom fighters like Tipu Sultan, earlier in Mysore, had already seen the strategic value of controlling plantations and resources, not just for wealth, but for autonomy. After his fall, British dominance intensified, but so did underground resistance. Coffee plantations became not just workplaces, but secret meeting grounds. Plans were made under the cover of darkness, between the rows of coffee plants. By the late 19th century, coffee houses sprang up in Indian cities like Calcutta, Bombay, and Madras. These cafes became centers for intellectual exchange, where lawyers, writers, and revolutionaries debated politics over cups of steaming coffee. Figures like Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Dadabhai Naoroji, and Annie Besant often met in such spaces, stirring nationalistic thoughts among the youth. Coffee, once the drink of colonizers, was now fueling the minds of India's future leaders. In the early 1900s, coffee-growing regions played quiet but critical roles during major movements. Gandhi's non-cooperation movement saw massive participation from plantation workers. The exploitation they faced made them natural allies of the freedom struggle. Coffee was no longer just an export. It was an emblem of everything Indians had been denied: dignity, land, and freedom. Some say the first taste of freedom for many rural Indians came not in big cities, but in those remote coffee hills. Today, when we sip Indian coffee, few of us remember the struggles steeped into every cup. It carries the memory of ancient forests, lost livelihoods, brutal colonization, and the unbreakable spirit of those who refused to bow. A simple bean, once a tool of empire, became part of the resistance. A cup of coffee, carrying centuries of sacrifice and hope.